Imagine a world where Google is not the only way to search, install apps, or use an operating system. It seems like a twist on the traditional script, right? Well, Huawei is making that twist a reality with advancements that are catching global attention, especially in China, where it is building a tech empire that competes with the giants of Silicon Valley. From HarmonyOS to AI-powered devices, Huawei is not just competing but redefining what technology can achieve. What is behind Huawei's rise, and why is Google starting to feel the pressure? Let's analyze it. Stay ahead of the curve with the latest in tech. Subscribe to Data Dollar now and never miss an update on the innovations that are shaping the future of business and technology. Join our community. What if all those digital tools you use daily, your apps, your search engine, your phone's operating system, stopped depending on Google? That scenario is taking shape. Huawei, once seen as a minor competitor, is now making steady progress to replace Google's ecosystem with its own proposal, and it's achieving significant advances in China. Huawei's phones, services, and apps are surpassing Google's reach in several regions, and the world is taking notice. How is it accomplishing this technological feat? And what consequences could it have for the industry? Keep watching, we'll explain everything. And here's the interesting part. This goes much further than smartphones. Huawei is developing a complete ecosystem that includes operating systems, cloud services, artificial intelligence, and even smart vehicles. While Android and Google Search dominate worldwide, HarmonyOS and Pedal Search are gaining ground in Asia and other markets. It's a battle of innovation, strategy, and vision. In the end, you'll understand why Huawei's rise could forever change our relationship with technology. The story of Huawei is an example of resilience and ambition. A few years ago, the sanctions imposed by the United States cut off access to Google's services, such as the Play Store and Android updates. Many thought that would mark its decline, but what it did was turn adversity into an opportunity. By 2025, Huawei not only survives, it thrives, with an ecosystem that competes head-to-head with Google's. The central focus of this resurgence is HarmonyOS, its internally developed operating system, launched in 2019 and improved over time. Its fifth version already runs on more than 900 million devices, from phones to televisions and cars. Unlike Android, which relies on Google's infrastructure, HarmonyOS was built from scratch with a focus on speed, security, and adaptability. In China, where Google's services are restricted, HarmonyOS has become the preferred option, with a 25% share of the smartphone market, only surpassed by Android versions without Google. And let's not forget Pedal Search, Huawei's alternative to Google Search. It's not just a search engine, but a gateway to apps, news, and services tailored to local markets. It already handles millions of searches daily in Asia, and Huawei is pushing its expansion to Europe and Africa, where users are seeking alternatives to Google's monopoly. Adding to that is the App Gallery, Huawei's app store, which has more than 580 million active users per month. In many key regions, it already represents real competition to the Play Store. As for hardware, the Mate 70 series, equipped with the Kirin 9000 chip, is outperforming its competitors in China, with foldable designs and artificial intelligence that feel futuristic. Additionally, Huawei's cloud services are growing rapidly, offering businesses a more affordable and locally compliant alternative to Google Cloud. Huawei is building a tech empire with reach in devices, software, and services. Google is still a giant, no doubt. Android powers more than 70% of the planet's smartphones. Google Search handles 90% of searches, and the Play Store is the app hub for billions. But cracks are beginning to show, especially in markets where Huawei is gaining ground. China, for example, is a blind spot for Google, excluded since 2010. That market of more than 1.4 billion people has been free for the taking, and Huawei has filled that space with HarmonyOS and Pedal Search, attracting users who would have otherwise used Android. In 2024, Huawei's smartphone sales in China reached 35 million units, a 40% increase from the previous year, while Android stagnated. But this is not just a local victory. It's proof that Huawei can build a global ecosystem without Google. Furthermore, concerns about privacy are leading many users to look for other options. Huawei is promoting HarmonyOS as a safe and transparent alternative. Posts on platforms like X express dissatisfaction with Google's data practices, with some highlighting the local control that Huawei offers. Regarding app stores, the Play Store is being questioned for its high commissions, up to 30% per transaction, while App Gallery offers more attractive terms to developers, drawing both independent studios and big names. In hardware, Google has solid products like the Pixel, but its global market share is under 2%. Huawei, on the other hand, offers more accessible high-end devices, often priced lower than Google's. And while Google's AI, like Gemini, is advanced, Huawei's Celia Assistant is gaining users in multilingual markets thanks to features like real-time translation and integration with local apps. Huawei stands out for its full integration. HarmonyOS connects phones, vehicles, and Internet of Things devices, especially in China, where it is optimized for services like WeChat. Petal search is useful in regions where Google is weak, and App Gallery is growing thanks to partnerships with companies like Tencent. Google, for its part, maintains an impressive scale. Android dominates the world, and the Play Store has an app library that's hard to match. Its search algorithms remain a benchmark, and Gemini is very powerful. However, its ecosystem outside smartphones is less cohesive, and its dependence on advertising alienates some users. Can Huawei compete with Google worldwide? In China, it's already ahead. Devices with HarmonyOS surpass those using iOS and Android without Google. App Gallery downloads grew by 20% in 2024, and Huawei Cloud revenue reached $10 billion, a third of what Google Cloud generates, but with a higher growth rate. On social media platforms like Weibo, Chinese users view Huawei as a national symbol. Outside China, the picture is more complicated. Google's services are deeply ingrained in Western daily life: Gmail, Maps, YouTube. Huawei still doesn't have solid equivalents in those fields. App Gallery lacks key global apps like Spotify, though deals are being made to close that gap. Petal Search operates in over 170 countries, but its size remains modest compared to Google's giant. Still, Huawei is making progress in Africa and Southeast Asia, where its affordable devices and local partnerships are gaining traction. In Malaysia, for instance, its market share reached 15% in 2024, up from 8% in 2022. Google isn't sitting idle. It's strengthening privacy in Android 15 and reducing Play Store commissions for small developers. But regulatory problems, like EU fines, could slow its progress and open space for Huawei. For consumers, Huawei's rise means more options. If you live in a Google-dominated environment, sticking with Android is convenient. Its apps are everywhere. But if you want to explore alternatives, Huawei offers fresh ideas. HarmonyOS is fast and secure, and devices like the Mate 70 have foldable screens and 100W, charging for less than a Pixel 9 Pro. That said, there's a downside. Outside China, Huawei phones don't include Google apps, so you'll need alternative solutions to use YouTube or Gmail. App Gallery is improving, but still doesn't match the fluidity of the Play Store. If you prioritize privacy or want to try a competitor to Google, it's worth giving Huawei a shot, though it involves a different experience. For businesses, Huawei's cloud and AI are attractive, especially in Asia, where local laws favor native providers. Developers also sometimes prefer the low commissions of App Gallery, although Google's scale and tools like Firebase still give it an advantage. This change points to a larger trend. Technology is becoming less US-centric. Huawei's success shows that it's possible to innovate without following the Silicon Valley model, forcing everyone, even Google, to accelerate. What's ahead for Huawei and Google? Huawei is betting everything on HarmonyOS, aiming to reach 1 billion devices by 2026. It's expanding Petal Search with AI to compete with Google's structured knowledge and seeks to make a strong push into markets like India, where Google's dominance is fragile. It's also investing in 6G technology and smart cities, areas where Google still has little presence. Google responds with more AI and hardware. The Pixel 10, expected in 2025, will include next-generation Tensor chips, and there's speculation they'll release augmented reality glasses to compete with Vision Pro, Huawei's flagship in that area. Favorable regulations, like the EU rules allowing free app installations, could help Google regain some control. The wildcard in this game is geopolitics. Tensions between the US and China could limit Huawei's progress, though an easing of sanctions could open new doors. In any case, the tech map is being redrawn. We'll see more ecosystems, not fewer, and players like Xiaomi and Samsung are also entering the field. If you enjoyed the video and would like to continue learning about technology and markets, subscribe to Data Dollar and leave a like. See you next time.